Hey kids, this is how you doing? Recorded music hasn't been around for all that long when you think about it. And for most of the time that we've been recording music, it wasn't really accessible. Like you had to go to a special place, like a recording studio. There were special people that recorded music. There were the equipment was very costly, and it took a lot of capital in order to actually cut a real album when it came right down to it. All this kind of changed maybe 20 years ago, 15, 20 years ago, somewhere around there. Digital technology started to make things much more accessible. And just with a lot of independent press type stuff, MP3s, all the good junk that we know about now. And we got to this point where there was good news and bad news. The good news was anybody could record an album. The bad news was anybody could record an album, and some of them were god awful. And I on some recordings myself as a bass player, and some of them are great, and some of them are you know. I don't put them on to listen to for enjoyment, but that's kind of the way it goes. And I've had the opportunity to play with or record with some people that had some really great equipment, and the equipment makes a big difference, the quality of the equipment. And I've also had the opportunity to record with some people that were just really good at what they did. This one guy I played in bands with, and still playing in a band with now, this guy Ray Pelagi, he actually did all the sound for Mike Judge on Beavis and Butthead, and I think the Daria show as well. Now he works for ESPN. He was doing independent stuff for a while, but he's a great drummer. But he also is just like a wizard when it comes to recording stuff. Has got a little studio in his house, not really big, but just he knows what he's doing. Takes him no time at all to get this wonderful sound. So anyhow, this is a channel about role-playing games, so I'm going to talk about that. So we're in this golden era now too. There was a time when you had to go to publishers and sell your idea, and there was this big giant thing, and now we've got things like print on demand and crowdfunding and Kickstarter and all kinds of cool stuff. And so the good news is anybody can publish a role-playing game. The bad news is anybody can publish a role-playing game, and so the quality might not always be that great, and sometimes it's phenomenal. I'm thinking of so a couple people I know that have published their own stuff, and it's great. It's cool stuff. There's stuff coming out now that's really nifty. And it was funny. I was just looking back at some photos. A friend of mine went to GaryCon. I did not. And there's some of the photos were. I think actually it was a post rather by Jeff Talanian, the guy who wrote Astonishing Swordsman and Sorcerers of Hyperborea. And he shared some photographs from I think it was like 2011. The game hadn't even been produced yet. Like it just he was running the game at GaryCon off notes, which I think is awesome because now he's in his second printing. And there's other people, even in the brigade, that are printing, some cool stuff. Like Eric, from Bloat Games, is doing like the whole survive this zombies, and I'm trying to think who else. Tim Harper's got a couple things he's working on, but just cool stuff, and on you go. But at the same time, anybody can publish a role-playing game. So it's once again this kind of like good news, bad news scenario. It's wide open. There's all kinds of stuff available. It's really nifty. If you've got a good idea and you're going to put some oomph behind it, you can get yourself published. You can get it out there, even if it's a small run. But at the same time, if you're a consumer, let the buyer beware. You got to be careful of what you're getting yourself into. Not to say that the mass-produced ones are better. I think there was a thread not so long ago. Actually, no, I know what it was. It was Null Inquisitor was sharing something, and I forget. It was some kind of roundtable with some very notable people, and more famous and published in the hobby, talking about how you shouldn't hack stuff unless you really know what you're doing. And so it was funny. Like he and Tim Harper took offense to that, and I was right there too. I don't think I actually posted anything, but who says you know any better than we do? And I don't know about you. Have you ever toyed around with making a game? I certainly have in the past. Nowadays, there's so many systems that I'm looking at right now. I'm more just toying around with the ideas of what would I do at my own house, not publishing anything, but like what else would I use Ubiquity for? That kind of thing. Looking at all these nifty systems that I think are really kind of cool. But what are your thoughts on all this? I'd like to hear that. Is it the best of times or the worst of times or somewhere in between?